In the world of the fundamentalist elite, secrets are the currency of survival. For years, we thought we knew every branch of the Duggar family tree, every birth announcement, every gender reveal, and every meticulously timed public debut. But what if the cameras missed something? What if, behind the smiles and the "buy used and save the difference" mantra, a child exists who was never meant to be found? Tonight, we are diving into the most explosive theory to ever hit the Duggar community. From missing timelines in Kendra's pregnancies to the cryptic whispers on deep web forums, we are uncovering the hidden child scandal. Is it a fabrication of the internet, or the one secret Jim Bob Duggar can't afford to let out? Stay with us, because the evidence we found in public records changes everything. To understand the present, we must look at the architecture of the Duggar empire. Jim Bob Duggar built a brand on transparency, or at least, the illusion of it. Every child was a blessing, and every blessing was a potential storyline for TLC. But as the family moved away from the spotlight following the 2015 and 2021 scandals, the flow of information turned into a trickle. But even a trickle can leave a trail. Coming up, we look at the specific 14-month window where fans noticed something was different about Kendra. Kendra Duggar, married to Joseph Duggar in 2017, quickly became the golden daughter-in-law. She followed the timeline perfectly. Garrett in 2018. Addison in 2019, Brooklyn in 2021. But then, the public record went dark. While the Duggars often hide pregnancies for privacy now, the rumors of a secret fifth child aren't just about privacy, they are about a timeline that doesn't add up. Social media is the modern-day private investigator. In late 2022, Reddit users on the Duggar Snark and Counting On boards began noticing Kendra appearing in the background of family videos. She appeared to be sporting a baby bump, yet no announcement ever came. By early 2023, she was spotted at a family wedding, notably slimmer, carrying a car seat that didn't belong to her known children. If this was just a private birth, why the secrecy? Later, we'll examine the legal theory that suggests this child might have a different status within the family hierarchy. In the IBLP Institute in Basic Life Principles, culture, image is everything. A hidden child usually implies one of two things: a health struggle the family isn't ready to publicize, or a tactical move to protect a child from the intense scrutiny that broke the family apart during Josh Duggar's trial. Why would Jim Bob be involved in hiding a grandchild? Since the cancellation of *19 Kids and Counting On, Jim Bob has reportedly taken a much tighter grip on the family's media output. Sources close to the family suggest that any new addition is now treated as intellectual property for a potential future reality reboot. Legal experts note that without a TV contract, the Duggars have no obligation to report births to the public. However, the contrast between the open book policy of the past and the current fortress of silence has created a vacuum. And in that vacuum, rumors of a child kept off-grid began to fester. Let's look at the smoking gun, the video from the Duggar Christmas gathering. In a split-second frame, a child is seen in a high chair that doesn't match the ages of the other grandchildren. When the video was re-uploaded, that section was clumsily cropped. Why crop a baby out of a family video unless their presence contradicts the public narrative? Is this baby the reason Joseph and Kendra have completely vanished from Instagram? The answer might lie in a leaked text from a family friend that we'll reveal in the next segment. The long-term implications of hidden children in high-control groups are significant. If the Duggars are moving toward an off-grid lifestyle, it signals a total retreat from the public eye. But for a family that built its wealth on being seen, can they truly survive in the shadows? Community reactions are split. Some fans defend their right to privacy, while others argue that hiding a child is a form of control that echoes the family's darker past. Quote, as one longtime follower wrote on Facebook, "They don't owe us their kids, but the secrecy feels like they're ashamed of something. It's the Josh era all over again, hide the truth at all costs." We may never see a birth certificate. We may never see a formal announcement. But the hidden child scandal isn't just about a baby, it's about the collapse of a media dynasty. Jim Bob and Kendra represent two different eras of the Duggar family, the creator of the brand and the quiet casualty of its downfall. While the world was hunting for a hidden child, a much darker reality was being uncovered by Arkansas authorities. In March 2026, the silence surrounding Joseph and Kendra Duggar was shattered not by a birth announcement, but by an arrest. Joseph Duggar was taken into custody on charges originating from 2020. But it's what happened next that sent shockwaves through the community. The arrest of Kendra Duggar just days later would reveal secrets about the household that even the most dedicated fans never saw coming. According to legal filings and police reports from the Tontatown Police Department, investigators inspected the family home. What they found were bedrooms with locks placed on the outside of the doors. Kendra was charged with 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor and false imprisonment. This wasn't just about a missing child anymore, it was about the safety of every child under that roof. Legal analysts suggest that the hidden child theory might have been a shield for a much more controlled and dangerous domestic environment. If there is a secret 5th child, they were born into a home that was legally described as a site of concerning conditions. The Duggar compound has always been a fortress, but the Joseph and Kendra residence became a black hole for information. In the IBLP culture, the umbrella of protection is used to justify total parental control. When we look at the 2026 charges of false imprisonment, the hidden child concept takes on a chilling new meaning. Was the child hidden from the public to protect their privacy, or were they hidden to prevent state intervention? A neighbor's report from January 2026 mentioned seeing unidentified children playing in the backyard at odd hours. This leads us to the ghost child sightings that predate the arrests. Public records from March 2026 confirm that Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar released a statement saying they were heartbroken over Joseph's arrest. Yet, the statement notably focused on helping Kendra and her children. It did not specify how many children. For a family that usually lists grandchildren by name, this omission is deafening. The impact on the Duggar fandom has been catastrophic. The community that once viewed Kendra as the golden daughter-in-law is now grappling with the 2026 child abuse allegations. On platforms like Reddit, the hidden child theory has evolved into a rescue mission. Fans are no longer just curious, they are terrified. One top-rated comment on a recent investigative video reads, "We spent 2 years looking for a baby, and it turns out we should have been looking at the locks on the doors. The secrecy wasn't a game, it was a warning. The long-term implications for the Duggar brand are clear. The era of the happy mega family is dead. With Josh in federal prison and Joseph facing severe charges in Florida and Arkansas, the family's legacy is now defined by the very things they claim to stand against. So, is there a hidden Duggar? The evidence of a pregnancy in 2022 and 2023 is nearly undeniable based on visual sightings. But in light of the March 2026 arrests, the secret child is no longer a fun internet mystery. It is a piece of a much larger, much darker puzzle involving the Arkansas legal system and a family that has mastered the art of hiding in plain sight. As the court dates for Joseph and Kendra approach in late 2026, the world will finally get a look inside that fortress. And when the doors finally open, the truth about the hidden child, and the conditions they lived in, will finally be brought into the light. Let's deep dive in full details. In online communities, a phrase began to appear again and again. The timeline doesn't add up. It wasn't tied to one event or one person. Instead, it reflected a growing pattern of speculation surrounding the Duggar family, particularly around pregnancies, births, and what fans perceived as gaps in public updates. Among these theories, one stood out. The idea of a hidden child. A child that, according to speculation, existed, but had never been publicly acknowledged. There has never been any verified evidence supporting this claim. And yet, the theory spread. To understand why these rumors gained traction, it's important to go back to the beginning. 19 Kids and Counting built its success on transparency, or at least, the appearance of it. Births were documented, courtships were filmed, milestones were shared. Jim Bob Duggar often emphasized their openness, saying, "We want to share our lives and our faith with others." For years, viewers felt like they had full access. But reality television is never complete reality. It is edited, structured, curated, and over time, audiences began to notice the gaps. As the Duggar family's public image changed, especially after major controversies, so did the audience. Viewers became more analytical, more skeptical, more detail-oriented. Online communities began tracking pregnancy timelines, social media absences, background details in photos. On Reddit, users would compare dates and appearances. Wait, wasn't she supposed to be further along? Another wrote, "There's a gap here that doesn't make sense." This level of scrutiny transformed casual viewers into active investigators. And in that environment, the idea of something being hidden became believable to some. Kendra Duggar became a central figure in many of these discussions. Not because of controversy, but because of consistency. She maintained a low profile, shared limited personal updates, and stayed largely silent on public discourse. This combination, visibility without detail, created a space for speculation. A YouTube comment reads, "She's always smiling, but we don't really know anything about her." That lack of information didn't confirm anything, but it allowed theories to grow. One of the most common drivers of rumor is the idea of a missing timeline. This happens when public updates don't align with audience expectations. In the Duggar case, this often centered around pregnancy announcements. Fans had become used to a pattern. Announcement, updates, birth. But when that pattern changed, or appeared delayed, questions followed. Experts in media psychology explain. When audiences are accustomed to consistent updates, any deviation can feel significant, even if it isn't. In other words, silence creates space, and that space gets filled with interpretation. Social media was supposed to make public figures more accessible, but in reality, it often does the opposite. Kendra Duggar's online presence is minimal. Posts are infrequent. Details are limited. Comments are often restricted. This creates a paradox. The audience sees enough to stay interested, but not enough to feel informed. On Facebook, one user commented, "If they didn't share so little, people wouldn't speculate so much." But others disagreed. "They don't owe us anything." This tension, between privacy and expectation, is at the heart of modern reality fame. Rumors don't need proof. They need momentum. A single post becomes a thread. A thread becomes a discussion. A discussion becomes a narrative. And eventually, that narrative feels real, even when it isn't. Media researchers describe this as repetition-based belief formation. The more people see a claim, the more familiar it feels. And familiarity can be mistaken for truth. It's important to be clear. There is no verified evidence of any hidden child involving Kendra Duggar or the Duggar family. Spreading unverified claims about real individuals can have serious consequences. Legal experts note, false statements presented as fact can cross into defamation, especially when they impact reputation. This is why responsible reporting and responsible content creation matters, especially in the age of viral speculation. Looking back at 19 Kids and Counting, the Duggar family built their identity on openness. Birth specials, hospital scenes, family announcements. These moments created a sense of completeness. But even then, not everything was shown. Editing decisions, time constraints, narrative focus. What viewers saw was always a version of reality, not the full picture. Understanding that distinction is key. The Duggar story is no longer controlled by television. It's shaped by the audience. Every comment, every theory, every discussion. Viewers are now participants. And with that participation comes influence. A Reddit user summed it up. "We're not just watching anymore. We're building the story ourselves." That shift changes everything. At its core, the hidden child theory isn't really about a child. It's about trust. When trust in a public image weakens, people look for what might be missing. And sometimes, they find patterns that aren't actually there. Psychologists call this pattern recognition bias, the human tendency to connect dots, even when those dots don't form a real picture. Rumors, even when untrue, have lasting effects. They shape public perception. They influence how people interpret future events. And they create narratives that can be difficult to undo. For the Duggar family, this means living with a layer of speculation that extends beyond reality. For viewers, it means navigating a space where information and assumption often overlap. In the end, the story of the hidden Duggar isn't about a secret child. It's about how stories are created, how they spread, and why they persist. Because sometimes, the most powerful narratives are not built on facts, but on questions. And once those questions take hold, they can be harder to silence than any truth. In today's digital world, attention is currency. And few things generate attention faster than mystery. Titles that hint at secrets. Thumbnails that suggest something hidden. Phrases like, "what they're not telling you." These are not accidents. They are part of a system designed to capture curiosity. The Duggar family, with their long history of controlled visibility, became a perfect subject for this kind of content. Because when information is limited, speculation becomes profitable. Media analysts often point out, the less clarity there is, the more room there is for interpretation and engagement. And engagement drives everything. It's not just people spreading theories. It's platforms. Algorithms prioritize content that keeps viewers watching. And nothing keeps people watching like unanswered questions. A video suggesting a hidden timeline is more likely to be recommended than a video confirming there's nothing unusual. Why? Because uncertainty creates retention, and retention fuels visibility. This creates a feedback loop. Speculation gains views. Views increase reach. Reach brings more speculation. And over time, the theory feels bigger than it actually is. Reality television creates a unique illusion. It makes private life feel public. Viewers feel connected, familiar, even entitled to updates. But that access is always partial. The Duggar family chose to share parts of their lives. Not everything. And yet, over time, the expectation grew. On Facebook, one user wrote, "They shared so much before, it feels strange when they stop." But another responded, "They're allowed to have privacy now." This tension, between access and boundaries, has no simple resolution. One of the most fascinating aspects of Duggar-related discussions is the level of detail. Fans analyze background objects in photos, clothing choices, body language, posting frequency. What once might have been overlooked now becomes evidence. A slightly loose shirt, a delayed post, a missing update. Each detail is examined, interpreted, and sometimes overinterpreted. Psychologists describe this as confirmation bias, the tendency to notice details that support an existing belief. And once a theory takes hold, every detail begins to reinforce it. One consistent pattern in the Duggar family's approach to rumors is silence. No direct responses, no public clarifications, no engagement with speculation. This strategy has advantages. It avoids amplifying rumors. It maintains privacy. But it also has consequences. Silence can be interpreted as avoidance, or even confirmation. Media experts often note, in the absence of information, audiences create their own conclusions. And those conclusions don't always align with reality. The Duggar family is not the only reality TV family to face speculation. Other high-profile families have experienced similar patterns. Rumors about relationships, hidden conflicts, secret events. But what makes the Duggar case unique is the combination of strong belief systems, controlled public messaging, limited personal disclosure. This combination creates a perfect environment for ongoing curiosity. Because the more structured a public image appears, the more people wonder what lies outside of it. At the center of every rumor is a simple phrase. What if? What if something was missed? What if there's more to the story? What if the timeline isn't complete? These questions are powerful, not because they prove anything, but because they invite imagination. And imagination fills gaps quickly. This is why even unlikely theories can gain traction. They don't need certainty. They only need possibility. It's easy to view rumors as abstract. But they affect real people. Families. Children. Individuals with private lives beyond the screen. For someone like Kendra Duggar, who maintains a low public profile, speculation can exist without response. Without correction. Without closure. And that creates a unique dynamic. A public narrative, without a public voice. Over time, the Duggar audience has evolved. Viewers are more aware of editing. More aware of narrative control. More aware of how media shapes perception. This awareness has led to deeper analysis. But also, increased skepticism. A YouTube comment reflects this shift. I don't just watch anymore. I question everything. That mindset changes how stories are received. And how they spread. Will the hidden narrative disappear? Probably not. As long as there are gaps. There will be questions. As long as there is silence. There will be interpretation. But over time, attention shifts. New stories emerge. And old theories fade. What remains is the pattern. A cycle of curiosity, speculation, and reinterpretation. The idea of something hidden is compelling. It draws us in, keeps us watching, makes us feel like we're uncovering something important. But not every mystery has a secret behind it. Sometimes, the mystery exists because we expect one. Because we've been trained to look for it. And because in a world of constant information, the unknown feels more powerful than the known. As we look at the empty chairs at the Duggar table, we have to ask, who else is missing? And what happens when these hidden children grow up and decide they no longer want to be a secret? For years, the Duggars shared everything. Now, a massive gap in the timeline has fans asking, is there a secret child? We analyze the leaked footage, the missing months, and Jim Bob's role in the cover-up.